mentally, morally autonomous to be able to make a choice which is wise and which is in line with what the country is expecting of you as young citizens of the country. So it's very important to understand the importance of your vote. Now, in the larger context, sometimes what happens is we all get tempted by immediate things which are of interest to us, forgetting what is in our long-term interest. So it's very important as voters that we understand that country building is a long-term project. When it happens step by step, things will evolve over a period of time. In fact, take yourself as an example. Now, starting from third year of your life, you start studying, you start investing in your future. And what are you doing by studying over this many years, 16 years of study? You are investing in your future. Year by year, step by step, day by day, you are spending energy, hard work, lots of effort into trying to build yourself to a level where you can become a contributory force to the society, and then in the bargain earn a living and make a career out of your life. That you invest, your parents invest in your future. So knowingly or unknowingly, if you see, you yourself are a long-term project for both you and your parents, in fact for the society. That's what is building human capital is all over. That's why in any developed country, people talk about human capital. Human capital is how good are the resources who are coming up, young people are coming up, how good they are in terms of capabilities, in terms of attitudes, in terms of right kind of mental framework to be able to contribute to the society, having a positive outlook, having an ability to work hard, understand the constraints within which we all work. Because please understand, world is never ideal. We all work within constraints. There are resource constraints, all these constraints. So we'll have to operate within the constraints. We have to understand what are the constraints we are operating under. We have to understand that there is nothing called free. Someone has to pay for it. Maybe you are not paying for it, but end of the day, someone has to pay for it. Please understand, a lot of people have this misconception that money is everything, but money is only a paper. Money derives its value from the underlying business value of goods which are exchanged. Goods could be mental capital, could be physical capital. If there is no goods to be exchanged, money just becomes a piece of paper. Property also, if there is no demand for a property, property is worth nothing. Let's say 10,000 years back also you had the same earth, but the property values are changing. That is because of the change in demand, change in value, change in human value exchange, and all these are contributing to value addition. Demand increases, people want more luxury, want more things to enhance their lifestyle, and therefore there is demand for resources. That's why the cost of resources keep increasing. So we all have to be mindful of these economic realities, because you are young voters, you are people who will shape how this country will be in the next 30, 40 years. Now, young is not only in age always. Age is very important because you will live longer. But then it's also important that you have a progressive mind. Progressive doesn't mean you question your civilization. You have to respect your civilization, you have to respect your language roots, you have to respect the roots from which you come. Because if you don't respect your roots, you can never respect yourself. But that said, you have to have an open mind. Now, if you are going to question and ask about your rights, demand about your rights, you better start respecting other people's rights also. Your right ends where you infringe on other people's rights. Your rights cannot be at the expense of other people's rights. You should know that your rights are limited by certain things. And the most important thing, if you see, you want to be able to protect a society where people have the freedom to be able to exercise their rights, express themselves freely, within reasonable constraints, but the reasonable constraint should be as minimal as possible. If there is no freedom to express an opinion, there is nothing at all in this world. So those things are very precious values to be protected. The rights of people need to be protected. The rights of properties need to be protected. The governments you elect today, you can't make a choice based on very narrow gains you might get today. You have to think of it in the long term. You can't exercise your votes
based on very narrow, parochial kind of thought process. No, he is my friend, therefore I vote for him. He belongs to my street, so I vote for him. So he belongs to my caste, therefore I vote for him. Those cannot be the considerations for vote. Vote should be based on what? Who is the right person to be able to sit in the position for which I am voting for, to take this country forward, to take this area forward, whatever I am voting for. Who is the right person for the job we are trying to entrust him with? So that should be the basis of choice, not based on silly things like, sub-nationalism, sub-regionalism, very narrow mindsets, For example, sometimes you hear these thoughts, South pays more taxes, so we should get more money. Well, get more money back from the government. See, the whole idea of paying is because you can provide social security, you collect taxes from people who can afford a little bit more, and then temporarily redistribute it to people while investing in infrastructure for the long term. Small amount of money or a part of the money can be redistributed for people who need support, so that they can lift themselves up quickly and then come to a stage where they can themselves contribute and they can help other people. No, because in taxes, we should get that thing will go nowhere. Right? The idea of money distribution, government's role is minimal government. What is minimal government? Government job is to collect money from people, not fleece money or exploit people, but collect money from people at a reasonable level based on their potential to earn and contribute. Collect that money and use it in a manner which provides basic amenities to all, so that the country can prosper in terms of infrastructure, and also in the short term help those people who are in dire need, so that they can forget about their troubles and then focus on how to build themselves up, how to lift themselves up, so they can quickly become more productive and they can start contributing. They should try and get out of that receiving help mode to giving help mode. That's the idea of a good country. If everyone wanted to depend on the country, assuming someone else can pay for it, who will pay for it? Countries will die. There are so many examples in this last 20-30 years. If you see, Venezuela, which was the third richest country in the world, has become pauper. Greece has become pauper. Spain and Portugal were at the cusp of being pauper. Argentina was at the verge of being pauper. Sri Lanka was. Maybe if we don't do things properly, there is a risk of everyone ending up in that situation. We can't be profligate. We can't be wasting resources. We should be things like, what will good roads do? Good roads save a lot of time. Earlier, from here to Hyderabad, you could go. How long would it take? It used to take 15 hours, 16 hours, 17 hours. Now it takes about 9 hours. Now how much time is saved? Earlier, if you had to get a train reservation, you had to go to railway station, stand in a queue. Now you can do it from your home. Technology enablement. All these. So people talk about equality. Actually, the ideal thing is equity. Everyone should get equal opportunities. Equality is not possible, because by birth, each person is endowed differently. Equity is where everyone gets access to equal opportunities. After that, how much you use it is entirely up to you. If you use it well, you are more upward mobile. Other people who use it less will be less upward mobile. But the thing is, while ensuring everyone gets equal opportunities, the social security is where everyone knows that there is a safety. If for some reason they fall into bad times temporarily, there is a social security net. The community will help you by giving you resources to be able to feed yourself, meet your basic necessities, so that you can quickly lift yourself and come back to becoming productive. Security undankondi, people can live a very secure life. You expect that from the society, because in good society, everyone should want, if I am well endowed now, today I am doing well, I shouldn't mind contributing a little bit towards taxes, which will help the needy. So tomorrow they can lift themselves up and they can start contributing, and we both together can help other people who are in need. That's the idea of a good economy, a good behavior, good sociological behavior. We have to conduct ourselves like that. So when you vote, you can't think of vote as an asset which you can sell. Like your generation is very important, because India unfortunately has somehow fallen into the trap where a lot of people feel that vote is an asset which can be sold. Selling vote is like selling your self-respect. You can't sell your self-respect, you can't sell your future. Selling vote is like selling your future. You want to vote for people who will ensure your long-term future, who will do things which will help build the country for the long term, who will make choices, policy choices, which make this world sustainable, which make the country, which make the state sustainable, which make the state sustainable on multiple fronts, economically sustainable, by not trying to spend more than what we can afford today and in the near future. Where is the money going to come? Environmentally sustainable, not doing anything which will destroy the environment, which will make life itself unsustainable. Even if it means that we have to spend a little bit more, even if it means we have to constrain ourselves into using resources, we have to be careful with resources like water, current, X, Y, Z, so that we can protect the environment for future generations. All these, every single choice we should do in the long term, keeping long term view in mind, because we have to live in the long term. It might be me, it might be someone else. But we have to look at what the long term should be like. Loans, X, Y, Z. Even personally, at a personal level, how do you take loans? You take loans which you can repay. You take loans, but to construct an asset. Me chaduvulo me parents invest chestaru. It's like giving loan to your account, to your human capital account. The hope is after 20 years, 25 years, once you come to a level where you can pursue a job, you can start repaying that investment on you. That's basically the loan, right? You invest in your account by feeding money, resources, and all, energy, effort, and all to build your human capital. And time will come at some point, hopefully, we'll use this whole thing well, where you can earn back money and then you can extract all the investment you made. That's the return on investment. Parents invest money for child's marriage. For a long time you save, long-term project, right? Because you want to be able to find the right kind of match for your child so they can live a happy life. So it's investment for the future. Every such thing, people invest in long term. But then when individually you do, but when it comes to state, somehow we forget that state also is a state, or country also is a unit. Just like your family is a unit, you are a unit, state is also a unit. Same parameters work for the state as well. Only thing is, there someone has to be trustee. For you, your trustee, while you are young, is your parent. After that, to your life, you are the trustee. For state, your votes will elect a trustee for a period of time. Now you want to be able to make sure that trustee is responsible enough, that trustee is good enough to place your trust in him. Because you're putting, see, if you use your vote wrongly, if you rely on a person or a government you make a choice which is not right. When I say you, the majority, right? Then the risks are too many. You can change the course of the country, where it might take ages to again come back into the right path. So your choices do matter in the long term. Like I told you examples of some countries where these difficult, bad choices were made and they're paying prices. Lots of time bad choices are going to affect you in the long term in ways you can't comprehend. Now people always say, at your age, people say, I want jobs. But how will jobs come? Jobs will not come just like that. First of all, you have to have an ecosystem where businesses are allowed to flourish. You have to have an ecosystem where a businessman knows that if he comes and puts money here, he knows that his investment is protected. He knows that there is sufficient opportunity for him, if he conducts his business well, to be able to run a good business, make a reasonable profit. More importantly, his interests are protected, his investments are protected, there is no risk to his investments, there is no risk to his safe and fair conduct of business. That is the environment they want for businesses to come. If there is a slightest risk of that, not now, in the near future also, why would anyone want to risk their money here? Because businesses don't come just like that. They have to invest a lot of their money, effort into bringing it. When there is even a slightest inkling of a risk, they would not want to come here. They would want to go to some other place where their investments are likely to be more safe. They look at investment, an environment, an ecosystem which is consistently good, which is long-term horizon is good, policy consistency is there. People don't reverse the good policies of the state. Randomగా ఉందనుకోండి, ఒకరోజు ఈడు వస్తాడు, ఒకరోజు ఇంకోటి వస్తాడు, policies keep changing. Randomness is something people hate. Businesses cannot make choices if they know that the ecosystem is going to be random. You don't know what will happen tomorrow, day after. You want a consistent mechanism. The basic common minimum denominator policy framework should be consistent. One or two policy changes will happen from time to time, fine, but the basic ecosystem of what an ideal business environment would be, what a good working place should be, those shouldn't change. If those change, then businesses will not come. If businesses don't come, how will jobs come? Now, job is what? Job is a byproduct of business activity. Jobs don't come just like that. Jobs are not donations given by anyone. Jobs are, businesses come, businesses have to deliver some products, some services to people for which they charge money. To deliver that services, they need people to be able to produce those services. So they hire people who can produce those services. That's how the system works. Now, jobs don't come out of thin air. You know, people, a lot of people say, oh, government jobs. Government jobs are very limited. How much percentage of Indian jobs do you think would be government jobs? Like 0.2%, 0.3%. Government jobs are what? For what? Civic services. Now, rest of it is business. See, first and foremost, we need to understand government's main business is not business. Government's main business is facilitation of the country, creation of infrastructure, to be able to allow enterprises, businesses to come and flourish. That's government job. Government job is not to conduct business. Government job is to facilitate businesses. And if they feel like businesses are not coming, then government can intervene in the short term, get into the business, create the landscape and then exit. You know, in the initial days, government invested in big businesses like steel plant and all, because big businesses need a lot of capital. Private people did not have that kind of capital, so government had to step in. It was not like, even now if you see, governments are not the most ideal business runners. Business is efficiently run by private enterprises. So government's role is not to own organizations. Government's role is to facilitate organizations so they do well, create competition, make the market a fair place. If they feel like one or two players are hijacking the market and causing a syndicate, then government can get in to try and bring prices under control. Governments have to ensure that the businesses are following fair practices. Governments have to ensure that it has to intervene only when there is a need for intervening, and it has to exit. So they have to know when to get in, when to get out, how to get in, what to get in for, how to dictate policy, how to create infrastructure. Why is infrastructure useful? All these mechanisms is what government is for. Government job is not to do business. Government's purpose is not to do business. It is to ensure, protect property rights, protect citizens' human rights, protect citizens' freedoms, give common amenities to all people, ensure the basic things. What are the basic things? You know, child nutrition, primary education to all, universal health care. These are basic amenities which everyone should get. So government should ensure that through the taxes it collects, it can create a mechanism where everyone has, irrespective of what they are doing, everyone has access to basic primary education. Child nutrition is protected. That's why you give an egg and all to child and all that. And then another thing is old age. When people reach old age, you know, how do you ensure that their life is secure? If they're not getting money, pension, how do you ensure that they at least get a basic pension so they can sustain? Because in modern age, if they don't have sustainability, who knows? Their children might not take care of them. So there are certain basic parameters which government has to focus on. If government is focused on running businesses, they will forget these things. These are the essential aspects which governments have to work on. So your vote is very important because you have to think first of all about what you are electing. See, when you vote for a corporator, the criteria is different. Corporator, what is the expectation of a corporator? You expect the corporator to be able to understand what your local issues are. Basic amenities vastunnaya leda. How much taxes are your people paying, property tax, road taxes, and are the services coming to your area commensurate to the kind of taxes being collected? That should be the focus of a local corporator, not policy focus. It's more operational focus. But when you vote for a MLA, now it's more on a state policy level. How is the education? How is health? How is law and order? How is property right protection? Those are the fundamental things you look at. How are the basic health infrastructure? How is primary education infrastructure? How is access to education? Those are the kinds of things you talk about. Now, when you vote for central government, you talk about what is the fiscal policy, what is the overall budget allocation, how much taxes are collected, where is the money going into, what is the overall infrastructure like, what is bank credit like. If people have the ability, how can government ensure that you have access to bank credit, where you can get money from the bank, where you can pursue your ideas. Equality of opportunity, remember, everyone should have equality of opportunity should be there. After that, equality depends on what you achieve. If you are very good, you will go much higher than the other person. But equality of opportunity should be there. Everyone should be having access to the resources. And now you have, not like in the past, now you have people with venture capitals and all that. If you have a good idea, which has a bright chance of being successful, people don't donate you money. People invest in your idea. Please understand, there is a difference. If your idea is good, they are willing to invest. The early they invest, the cheaper they get that value for, they are betting on it. They are betting on it. Please understand, they are investing, they are not donating money to you. You can't expect people to donate money to you. Your idea, you should be able to sell your idea. You should be able to pitch your idea. You should be confident about your idea. You should be able to be convinced about your idea first. You cannot look at it as a way of fleecing money from someone. So that kind of attitude you need to have. As youngsters, these are the kinds of ecosystems. So is the government promoting a venture capital kind of ecosystem? Is the government providing me easy access to bank credit provided my idea is convincing? Is my taxed money, is it being used properly, rightly? Am I behaving responsibly? Are people behaving responsibly? Right? Because if the money is being used, if the government is using money on schemes where the money is getting misused, then whose money is getting wasted? It's the taxpayers' money. Government has no money. Please understand, government has no money. Government is only a trustee of public money. Money comes from one side and money gets distributed. Government has no money whatsoever. Government cannot have it. Government prints money proportionate to the value which is there. That is the GDP, gross domestic product value exchange. Money is only a mere exchange mechanism for exchanging value between one person to another person. So that's the thing, you have to invest in long term. You know, people might not know, in America, for example, in 1929, there was Great Depression, serious depression, you know, everything was down. So you know what they did at that time, Roosevelt, what he did was, that he raised municipal bonds, bonds of a loan, government loans, from rich people they took loans by releasing municipal bonds. Bond ichi, people they get loans, they use that money to build roads for 100 years. Roads build cheyadam valla infrastructure ochindi, they generated mass employment to people. People came out of depression because people didn't have jobs, job creation, infrastructure creation. And those roads are still working. For 100 years they built the roads, long term view. You create ecosystems where people work and understand what is responsible capitalism. You allow people to, right? That's why US you see that Statue of Liberty. Welcome here. That's how US has become what it is. Because it's welcomed many people. If you see any person who in US is a big shot now, he's an immigrant, come from somewhere else, they made a life for themselves because the society encourages people to come with good ideas, make money. And now, because of credit, because of this idea economy, people can become big shots not because they had their parents' money, just because they had a good idea. They're bright people. They're able to develop and build that idea. You can take Zuckerberg, you can take anyone. How did they become what they became? Because they were good, they were sharp, they were able to construct an idea, they were able to generate economy out of it, they were able to construct a business which is profitable, give employment, and they made businesses which are successful, people want to invest, that's how they grow. Here also, a lot of people, in India, there is sometimes this perception, for example, that tax paying is a sin. It's not. People who pay tax are sinners. It's not sin money. Tax paying is, you are earning good money. We request you to contribute a little bit more to the overall development of the society. So government is requesting them to contribute more. It's not penalization. Right? it's credit to them that they have been able to earn enough to be able to contribute more to the economy. Tax paying is a good thing. People try to avoid tax at any cost. People try to think of tax paying, and people in India even still now there is this feeling that somehow rich people are sinners. No, rich people contribute to the economy. You can't deny the fact that Ambani created a lot of wealth in this country, a lot of jobs, a lot of wealth, a lot of share capital. Infosys created a lot of wealth, a lot of share capital. A lot of people became rich because of Infosys. You create wealth. Businesses create wealth. Business is not a sin. Right? Businesses make money. Competition, good competition in businesses ensures that businessmen have competitive prices. Monopoly in business is bad. ఒకరే business run చేస్తూ prices అంతా వాళ్ళ కంట్రోల్లో ఉన్నాయనుకోండి, that is bad. Monopoly is bad. But competitive businesses are never bad because they're sustainable, right? So you apply when you are first time voters, you have to think of the broader perspective, what you are trying to make the choices on. What are the choices available in front of you? There is nothing called ideal in this world. You choose among the best available. Please understand, there is nothing called idealism. I want God to be a candidate. God will never be a candidate, right? You have to understand that you have to make the choices among the best options available. And please understand, in a democracy, the rulers who get elected are in many ways a reflection of how the society is thinking. If you think well, the rulers also will start thinking well. They basically get led in the direction you want them to be going in. But if you are making choices based on very loose considerations, not serious considerations, very vague considerations, random considerations, then there is no hope. Right? Ultimately in democracy, majority comes. And democracy is going to thrive if people make a very conscious and informed choice when they vote. If they don't make a conscious and informed choice but vote on random parameters, then democracy becomes what? A mobocracy, where a majority mob, they're trying to lead the country. Do you want to be part of such a country? Because you are young generation, you should be the ones who should be correcting the wrongs in the society, the evils which are ailing the current democracy. Choose at any level, at a corporate level, corporator level, at an MLA level, at an MP level. Make the choices which you think is the right choice for you, which you think will take the country forward. Don't try to put a price to your vote, sell your vote, attach your vote to narrow considerations like regionalism, things like that, caste, regionalism, those parameters. Friend, attach value to your vote. You understand that your vote should count. Your vote should count positively for the benefit of the country. Maybe sometimes what you vote for might not be what the majority vote for. No problem. But at least your conscience says that you voted in the right spirit. Ultimately, majority has to be respected. Fine. But your conscience is also one thing. You should know what you voted for, why you voted for, what are the parameters. Your conscience should be clear. Right? That's why the caption, मेरा पहला vote देश के लिए. पहला vote नहीं, सब vote देश के लिए. Every vote should be for the country. But basically, maybe it's because your first time voting for the country is the concept in which they're saying. But every single vote you vote should be for the development of everyone. Should be for the development of the community around you. Should be for the, like I said, your rights are important. Imagine a situation where you can't walk in the night, you can't own a property without risk of someone encroaching it. The governments act not like trustees, but governments act like dominions who can come and grab your land. Government can pass a law and take anything. For example, you think government can pass a law and take private property tomorrow? Governments have restrictions, right? Governments are there for doing certain things. Law and order, if you speak something in the Twitter, you post something, some police comes and arrests you. Now, where is freedom? Freedom to express yourself. Okay, one can understand freedom of expression is within reasonable limits, but those reasonable limits are supposed to be very, very less number of limitations. If you use that clause to put limitations around your life, where the very notion of freedom is gone, then what is there? There is no law and order, there is no freedom. That kind of things cannot happen. You are voting for the government to be able to protect your rights. You want governments which will ensure that the civic bodies are independent of the policy making and they are able to function independently to give services to all, irrespective of who they are aligned to, irrespective of their political alignment, irrespective of their caste, gender, anything. Civic services should be common to all. Everyone should be having access to the same set of services. Access to services cannot be controlled on the basis of what your political choice is, what your gender is, what your caste is. Everyone should have access to the same mechanisms. So if government stifle that, take away that rights from you, then what will happen? Then where is the freedom? What is it that we fought for from British? Because we wanted self-government. We wanted to be able to elect a government which will protect our rights, which will allow me to connect to my civilization, stay true to my civilization, work within my civilization, but also be progressive, help my country take it forward. I do not want anyone to be able to fleece money from me. If someone does it, I have the right to be able to overthrow that government. So self-government, self-rule, basically. So your vote is that powerful. The very essence of freedom you got from Britain, if you condense that whole thing, what did you get in independence? Right to vote, right to elect government, that's all you got. And everything else is following through from it. In British time, you didn't have right to vote. The king ruled, viceroy ruled. Independence, if you have to put it in one line, what did you get? Right to elect, who rules you? Now, if that election, that power you don't use properly, and give it on to people who will work and behave worse than British, then what are you going to do? So that is the thing, that is the power of the vote. So you have to make a very wise choice. That's why it's very important for your generation who become first time voters to understand the spirit of the right vote. Use it effectively, use it. Don't think that my vote is one among 1 crore, 130 crores, how does it matter? It matters. Every single vote matters because that is a way of expressing your stake in this country. Do you have a stake in this country or not? You have. So you express your stake in this country. You say, I have a stake in choosing who should be governing me. I have a stake in deciding who should take this country forward. That is the stake which you have to exercise with all sincerity, with all seriousness. Make a choice, consider you are educated people or you have reached an age when you are getting vote. Why are you getting vote at this age? Because the determination is that now you are mentally, morally and functionally autonomous, you can make a choice on your own. And sometimes you hear these choices very vague. ఇంట్లో పిల్లలతోనే ఓటు వేయించుకోలేక ఇంట్లో పిల్లలతో ఓటు వేయించుకోవడం పెద్ద ఇంపార్టెంట్ కాదు. ఎందుకంటే ఇట్ కుడ్ బి పాసిబుల్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ that my father votes for some other thing, I vote because my opinion is different. I am mentally autonomous. I don't have to vote as per what because he is mentally autonomous, I am. We both have different opinions. There's nothing wrong as long as he is making a choice based on his deep consideration of what is right. He is entitled to his choice. I am entitled to my choice. So this whole thing of somehow you have to go by what your neighbor says, how that means you basically given away. You have sort of mortgaged your moral autonomy to someone else. Then what is your identity? That's why you all have to have an identity of your own. Exercise your identity. Do what is the best. Use your vote effectively. And think about the choices you're making because they make a difference to the country, to the state, to the local sarpanch, municipality, ward, panchayat, everywhere your vote will make a difference. Make wise choices, help the country move forward. And I congratulate you all for getting vote. And I am hoping that you will have blue ink on your finger on the day of election. Thank you for giving me. I hope I didn't cross the time. If I
extended the time, it's not me to be blamed. You came late. You were supposed to start at 2:45. Thank you.